Yeah, I mean, you said that the gang kind of created a belief system where you got to die or kill for those letters and numbers.
Right.
And tattoos became a very significant thing in MS-13, where, they would actually start tattooing their faces. Was that something that MS-13, and I know they didn't invent it, but that was something they popularized?
Not necessarily. We most of my friends did not have tattoos on their face. Even the older ones my age still don't have tattoos on their face.
Right.
But it was the younger generations, that started coming in later.
Right.
That felt like, obviously they would see our tattoos because we had tattoos. The most that we got was for, a neck and, a tear for being in prison, right? Things like that to that nature, right? So other guys, like I'll tell you a case of this youngster, that he was always like the fifth wheel in the car, right? Sometimes he always wanted to go with us, but we never really wanted him around. He went and got tattooed on his forehead, right? He's got the whole gang across his forehead, and he was liked by the ladies that the street vendors, and they liked him. He was a good kid. And they fed him because he was also homeless. But now with that tattoo, they were afraid of him. But he thought by doing those tattoos, he was going to feel more accepted within the gang. But it didn't change. We still looked at him the same way.
Yeah.
So the tattoos did not give you any better credibility in regards to the gang structures. It was just kids that felt, it's like, I don't have to be asked anymore where I'm from. You're gonna read it in my face and you're gonna take me out because I decided to go out.
Well, yeah, but MS-13, they would put like the devil horns, on their forehead. Along with the machetes, you guys are creating sort of this really scary, satanic almost image of yourselves. And that scared a lot of people.
Well, obviously, when MS-13 started, it was around the heavy metal scene. It wasn't just that, but it was demonified. It was, in some places, it was glorified, and in some cases, even government was trying to target this new, environment that kids were, into dark music, right? It was no different that rap music is like, oh no, that's devil music.
Yeah.
Well, this is what was this other music that spoke to issues about hatred, about violence, about death, that people were terrified to hear about. And for us, it wasn't just so much the lyrics, but it was what came along with it that, we went to the concerts and there was a slam pit, right? That we will get into it and just beat the crap out of each other, right? And feel fucking good. By the time you come out of one of those concerts, it was like how I felt when I punched that kid in 4th grade. I let out my anger, I let out my frustrations, and that became my own way of dealing with my emotions and therapies and problems. It became my therapy. So going to these concerts was a way for us to let out. So it became, this music, which, you wore a Slayer t-shirt, and obviously you got the devil's horn, you got, upside down crosses, and people will freak out.
Well,
but it was happening everywhere.
Right. But it's one thing to wear a t-shirt. It's another thing to have devil horns tattooed on your forehead.
Well, obviously, MS-13 was not the first one or the last one that did that, but because of the sign that we had was the devil's horn, right? Yeah. The hand signs, that became a symbol of, putting the horns, putting the hand, the pentagram and stuff like that, that kind of symbolizes the devil's horn.